Jennifer Hayes sent the message through tears that blurred her phone screen. She only wanted to reach her best friend after discovering her boyfriend's affair with her own sister. But she had no idea she'd pressed the wrong number. The text went to Eric, a stranger, a single dad who had just tucked his daughter Linda into bed. When he read those words, "He's hurting me," he didn't ask questions. He didn't hesitate. His mother had died at the hands of a violent man, and he'd been too young to save her. He typed back 4 words. "I'll be right there." Could a wrong number become the right answer? Jennifer Hayes sat on the floor of the apartment she'd shared with Ryan for 3 years, staring at the phone in her hand like it was a lifeline. Her arms were already bruising where he'd shoved her against the wall. The apartment felt like a trap now. The walls seemed to close in. She could hear Ryan's footsteps in the hallway, coming back with his belt in hand. And somewhere across the city, a mechanic she'd never met was already grabbing his keys. Before we continue, please tell us where in the world you are tuning in from. We love seeing how far our stories travel. The nightmare started 3 hours earlier when Jennifer discovered Ryan's phone lighting up with a message from her sister Joanna. Jennifer had never been the type to go through someone's phone, but seeing her sister's name on Ryan's screen late at night filled her with dread. When she opened the messages, she found months of text between Ryan and Joanna, intimate messages, photos, and detailed plans about meeting up while Jennifer was away at client meetings. They had been laughing about how easy it was to fool her. Jennifer confronted Ryan the moment he came out of the shower. She asked him how long the affair had been going on, but instead of apologizing, Ryan blamed her. He said she was too focused on her graphic design work, and that she had pushed him away. He said Joanna understood him better. The cruelty in his words was worse than the betrayal itself. When Jennifer told Ryan to leave, he became violent. He grabbed her and shoved her against the wall, leaving bruises on her arms. He told her she was nothing without him. When she fell to the floor, Ryan walked to the bedroom, and Jennifer heard the sound of his belt being pulled from its loops. She knew what that sound meant. He had threatened her with it before. Jennifer managed to get to the living room, where her purse was. Her hands shook as she pulled out her phone and tried to text her best friend Maya. She typed, "He's hurting me," and added a location pin, but her vision was blurred with tears. She hit send without realizing she had texted the wrong number. The message went to Eric Carter, a 34-year-old mechanic who lived across the city. Eric had just finished putting his 7-year-old daughter Linda to bed when his phone buzzed. He didn't recognize the number, but when he read the message, his entire body went cold. Eric knew exactly what those words meant. When he was 12, his mother had been killed by his stepfather during a violent fight. Eric had been too young to stop it. For 22 years, Eric had lived with the guilt of not being able to save her. He had promised himself that if he ever had the chance to help someone in that situation, he wouldn't hesitate. Eric didn't waste time wondering if the message was meant for him. He simply replied, "I'll be right there." Then he grabbed his keys and knocked on his neighbor Mrs. Chen's door to watch Linda. Mrs. Chen didn't ask questions. She simply nodded and told him to be careful. Eric drove across the city toward the location pin Jennifer had sent. His hands gripped the steering wheel tightly as memories of his mother's final night flooded his mind. He remembered the sounds of shouting and his own helpless crying. He remembered the paramedics telling him there was nothing they could do. Back at the apartment, Jennifer heard Ryan's footsteps coming back down the hallway. She looked at her phone and saw that someone had replied to her message. For a moment, she was confused, but before she could process it, Ryan appeared with his belt in hand. Ryan told Jennifer she needed to learn respect. Jennifer tried to explain that she had called for help, hoping the threat would make him stop, but Ryan only laughed. He said no one was coming. Jennifer pressed herself against the couch, her phone clutched in her hand. She didn't know it responded, but she held on to the words, "I'll be right there," like a lifeline. 20 minutes passed. Ryan paced the apartment, ranting about how Jennifer had ruined everything. He swung the belt once, cracking it against the coffee table. Jennifer flinched, tears streaming down her face. Then there was a knock at the door. Ryan froze. The knock came again, firm and insistent. Ryan walked to the door and yanked it open. When he saw Eric standing there, a tall, broad-shouldered man with grease still on his hands, Ryan's confidence faltered. Eric didn't introduce himself. He simply asked if Jennifer was there. and if she was okay. Ryan tried to act casual, saying it was none of Eric's business. But Eric didn't move. He told Ryan he had received a message from Jennifer saying she was being hurt, and he wasn't leaving until he saw her. Jennifer heard Eric's voice and felt a wave of relief. She got to her feet and walked toward the door on shaky legs. When Eric saw the bruises on her arms and the terror in her eyes, his jaw tightened. Eric told Jennifer she didn't have to stay there, and that he would make sure she got somewhere safe. Ryan tried to block the doorway, but Eric stepped forward, his presence so commanding that Ryan backed up. Eric told Ryan in a calm but firm voice that Jennifer was leaving with him, and that if Ryan tried to stop her, Eric would call the police. Ryan's face turned red with anger, but he didn't move. Jennifer grabbed her purse and walked out. Her legs felt weak, but Eric stayed close beside her. When they reached Eric's truck, Jennifer broke down. She cried so hard she could barely breathe. When she finally calmed down, she asked him who he was and why he had come. Eric explained that she had texted him by accident, but that didn't matter. He told her about his mother and how he'd been too young to save her. He said he wasn't going to let anyone else get hurt when he had the power to stop it. Jennifer couldn't believe a complete stranger had dropped everything to help her. She gave Eric the address of her best friend Maya's apartment. During the drive, Jennifer called Maya and explained what had happened. Maya was horrified and told Jennifer to come over immediately. When they arrived, Maya pulled Jennifer into a tight hug. Jennifer introduced Eric and explained that he had saved her life. Maya thanked Eric profusely. Before Eric left, he gave Jennifer his phone number and told her to call if she needed anything. Jennifer promised she would. That night, Jennifer barely slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Ryan's face. She kept checking her phone, half expecting Ryan to show up. The next morning, Maya made Jennifer breakfast and sat with her while she processed everything. Maya was furious with both Ryan and Joanna and told Jennifer she needed to cut them both out of her life completely. Jennifer knew Maya was right. Over the next few days, Jennifer blocked both Ryan's and Joanna's numbers. Ryan tried calling from different phones and even showed up at Maya's building once, but Maya threatened to call the police and he left. Joanna sent several long emails trying to justify what she had done, claiming she and Ryan had fallen in love. Jennifer deleted every email. Eric checked in on Jennifer through text messages every day. He asked how she was doing and if she needed anything. Jennifer appreciated his concern, but felt guilty for dragging him into her mess. Eric assured her he had made the choice to help her, and he didn't regret it. 2 weeks after the night Eric had rescued her, Jennifer decided to get her own place. She couldn't stay with Maya forever, and she needed to prove to herself that she could stand on her own. Maya helped her search for apartments online, and they found a small studio in a quiet neighborhood. It wasn't much, but it was affordable and safe, and most importantly, it was hers. Jennifer signed the lease and started moving in her belongings. She didn't have much. Most of the furniture in the apartment she had shared with Ryan belonged to him, and she didn't want anything that would remind her of him. She bought a used futon from a thrift store, a small table and chair, and some basic kitchen supplies. Eric offered to help her move, and Jennifer gratefully accepted. On moving day, Eric showed up with his truck and a toolbox. He helped Jennifer carry boxes up the stairs and even assembled the futon. While they worked, Eric told Jennifer about his daughter Linda. He explained that Linda's mother had left when Linda was a baby, and he had been raising her on his own since. He talked about how Linda loved drawing and wanted to be an artist when she grew up. Jennifer found herself smiling as Eric spoke. There was something comforting about the way he talked about his daughter. Jennifer told Eric about her work as a graphic designer and how she had always dreamed of starting her own design agency. Ryan had always dismissed her dreams, but talking to Eric made her feel like maybe those dreams were still possible. By the end of the day, Jennifer's studio was starting to feel like home. She hung some of her design sketches on the walls and placed a small plant on the windowsill. For the first time in weeks, she felt a sense of peace. If you're listening right now, help me prove something wrong. My dad said I wouldn't even reach 1,000 subscribers, but I believe stories like this deserve to be heard. Help me show her that these tales matter. Please subscribe to this channel And let's keep breathing life into stories that were never meant to stay hidden. Now, let's continue over the next month. Jennifer settled into her new life. She threw herself into her freelance work, taking on more clients than she had before. The work kept her busy and gave her a sense of purpose. She was good at what she did, and her client appreciated her creativity and attention to detail. Slowly, Jennifer started to rebuild her confidence. Eric continued to check in on her regularly. Their text conversations became a daily routine. Eric would send her photos of Linda's latest drawings or funny stories about things that happened at the auto shop. Jennifer would share updates about her design projects or ask Eric for advice about apartment repairs. One evening, Eric invited Jennifer to have dinner with him and Linda. Jennifer was nervous about meeting Linda. She didn't want to intrude on their father-daughter time, but Eric insisted it would be nice to have company. Jennifer agreed. When Jennifer arrived at Eric's apartment, Linda answered the door. She was a shy 7-year-old with dark hair pulled into pigtails and a crayon stain on her shirt. Linda studied Jennifer for a moment before announcing that her dad had said Jennifer was a designer and asking if she could draw princesses. Jennifer laughed and said she could definitely draw princesses. That broke the ice, and Linda immediately dragged Jennifer to the kitchen table to show her all her drawings. Eric cooked spaghetti while Jennifer and Linda sat together. Jennifer sketching a princess and Linda coloring it in. Over dinner, Jennifer learned more about Eric's life. He had been working at the same auto shop for 10 years and had recently been promoted to shop manager. He talked about how hard it had been to raise Linda alone, especially in the beginning when he didn't know anything about taking care of a baby. But he had learned, and now he couldn't imagine his life without her. Jennifer told him about her sister and how she and Joanna used to be close when they were kids. She explained that the betrayal hurt not just because of Ryan, but because she had lost her sister too. Linda, in her innocent wisdom, said that if Joanna was mean to Jennifer, then she wasn't a real sister. Real sisters were supposed to be nice. That evening was the first time since the night of the attack that Jennifer felt truly relaxed. Being around Eric and Linda reminded her that there were good people in the world, people who cared about others and treated them with kindness. A month and a half after Jennifer moved into her studio, she received a call from her mother. Jennifer hadn't spoken to either of her parents since the night she discovered Ryan's affair. Her mother's voice was cold when she asked why Jennifer had been ignoring the family and why she had blocked Joanna's number. Jennifer explained what had happened, the affair, the violence, everything, but her mother didn't react the way Jennifer had hoped. Instead, her mother said that Jennifer was being dramatic and that couples went through rough patches. She said Joanna had told her that Ryan and Jennifer were having problems and that things just happen sometimes. Her mother insisted that Jennifer should forgive her sister and move on. Jennifer couldn't believe what she was hearing. Her own mother was taking Joanna's side. Her mother said that family was family and that Jennifer shouldn't throw away her relationship with her sister over a man. She completely dismissed the fact that Ryan had been violent and that Jennifer had been terrified for her safety. Jennifer told her mother that she wouldn't be forgiving Joanna and that she needed space from the family. Her mother responded by saying that Jennifer was being selfish and that she was breaking the family apart. Then she hung up. Jennifer sat in her studio apartment, staring at her phone. She felt like she had been punched in the stomach. She had lost not just her boyfriend and her sister, but now her parents too. The weight of it all was crushing. She called Eric. He answered on the second ring, and when he heard the tears in her voice, he asked what was wrong. Jennifer told him about the conversation with her mother. Eric listened without interrupting, and when Jennifer finished, he said something that stuck with her. Family isn't just about blood. 3 months after the night Eric had rescued her, Jennifer received an invitation from Eric. Linda's 8th birthday was coming up, and Eric was throwing a small party at a local park. He wanted Jennifer to come. Jennifer was touched by the invitation and immediately said yes. The day of the party was sunny and warm. Jennifer arrived at the park carrying a wrapped present, a set of professional quality colored pencils for Linda, along with a sketchbook. When Linda saw the gift, her eyes lit up, and she threw her arms around Jennifer in a tight hug. The party was small, just a few of Linda's friends from school, Mrs. Chun, and a couple of Eric's co-workers from the auto shop. but was filled with laughter and joy. Linda ran around the playground with her friends while the adults sat at picnic tables, chatting and watching the kids play. Jennifer found herself relaxing in a way she hadn't in a long time. She watched Eric push Linda on the swings. His face lit up with pure happiness. She saw the way he interacted with Linda's friends, making sure everyone felt included. She saw the way Mrs. Chin looked at Eric with obvious affection and pride. This was what a family was supposed to look like. Jennifer realized, not perfect, not without struggles, but filled with love and support. When it was time to cut the cake, Linda insisted that Jennifer stand next to her and Eric in the photos. As they gathered around the table, Linda blowing out her candles while Eric and Jennifer stood on either side of her, Jennifer felt something shift inside her. She realized that she was finally free. Free from Ryan's control, free from Joanna's betrayal, free from her parents' judgment. She had built a new life for herself, a life filled with work she loved, friends who cared about her, and the knowledge that she was strong enough to stand on her own. After the party, as Jennifer was getting ready to leave, Eric walked her to her car. He thanked her for coming and said that Linda had been talking about her all week. Jennifer smiled and said she wouldn't have missed it for anything. Eric hesitated for a moment, then said, "You know, when I got your text that night, I thought maybe I'd finally get a chance to do what I couldn't do when I was 12. I thought I'd save someone the way I couldn't save my mom. But the truth is, you saved yourself. I just gave you a ride." Jennifer shook her head. "You did more than that. You gave me hope when I didn't have any left. You showed me that there are still good people in the world." Eric smiled. "Well, you showed Linda and me that family isn't just about who you're related to. It's about who you choose." Jennifer drove home that evening with a sense of peace she hadn't felt in years. She thought about everything she had been through, the betrayal, the violence, the loss, and she realized that she had come out stronger on the other side. She was no longer the woman who made herself small to accommodate someone else's ego. She was no longer the woman who accepted cruelty as love. She was Jennifer Hayes, graphic designer, survivor, and friend. And for the first time in a long time, that was more than enough. When she got back to her studio apartment, she looked around at the space she had created for herself. It was small, but it was safe. It was hers. She sat down at her desk and opened her laptop, pulling up a document she had been working on for weeks, a business plan for her own design agency. Ryan had told her she wasn't business savvy enough to run a company. Her parents had always dismissed her dreams as impractical. But Jennifer knew better now. She knew she was capable of anything she set her mind to. She worked late into the night, refining her business plan and designing a logo for her new agency. When she finally went to bed, exhausted but happy, she fell asleep knowing that tomorrow would be better than today. And it was. Jennifer launched her design agency 3 months later. It was small at first, just her working from her studio apartment. But her client list grew quickly. Word spread about her talent and professionalism, and soon she had more work than she could handle alone. Eric and Linda became a permanent part of her life. They had dinner together every week, and Linda started calling Jennifer Aunt Jen. Jennifer taught Linda how to use design software, and Linda showed Jennifer her latest drawings. Eric and Jennifer's friendship deepened into something neither of them had expected, but both were grateful for. Jennifer never heard from Ryan or Joanna again. She occasionally thought about them, wondering if they were still together or if their relationship had fallen apart the way it deserved to. But mostly, she didn't think about them at all. They were part of her past, and she was focused on her future. 1 year after the night she had accidentally texted Eric, Jennifer received a message from him. It was a photo of the text she had sent that night, "He's hurting me," followed by his response, "I'll be right there." Below the photo, Eric had written, "Best wrong number I ever answered." Jennifer smiled and typed back, "Best mistake I ever made." And it was true. That accidental text had led her to safety, to friendship, and to a life she had built on her own terms. It had led her to a family she had chosen rather than one she had been born into. It had led her to the realization that she was stronger than she had ever imagined. Jennifer Hayes was no longer the woman who had sat on the floor of that apartment, terrified and alone. She was the woman who had walked out of that door and never looked back. She was the woman who had built a new life from the ground up. She was the woman who had learned that sometimes the wrong number was exactly the right answer. So here's the real question. Did you subscribe yet? Thousands of people will listen to this story and won't subscribe. Please don't be that person. If you're listening right now, help me prove something wrong. My mother said I wouldn't even reach 1,000 subscribers. But I believe stories like this deserve to be heard. Help me show her that these tales matter. Please subscribe to this channel, and let's keep breathing life into stories that were never meant to stay silent. And here's what I need to know. Do you want part 2?